It is now just hours before the people of Karnataka will vote, and an unseemly quarrel has broken out between the Prime Minister and Sonia Gandhi. In fact, the Prime Minister has directly targeted Mrs. Gandhi. This after a tweet on the Congress's social feed seemed to suggest that Sonia Gandhi was making a reference about protecting, quote unquote, the sovereignty of Karnataka. In fact, listening to the speech shows you she said absolutely no such thing. That has not stopped the BJP from complaining to the Election Commission, asking, in fact, for the Congress party to be deregistered for talking about an Indian state as if it is a separate country unto itself. The Congress says the BJP is guilty of fakery and falsehood in an election in which the Congress argues the advantage is that of the Congress party. Whichever way it plays out, is this even an issue in the elections? This is a high voltage trading of charges. In fact, the Prime Minister has used the phrase Tukde-Tukde gang for the Congress party. The tweet, curiously, still remains on the Congress's social feed. But as I mentioned, Sonia Gandhi's speech makes no such reference of the word. Why then has the BJP chosen to make this an issue? Is this a sign of nervousness or is it a sign of aggression? Let's introduce our guest on the program today. Joining us from the BJP is its senior leader and spokesperson, Pramila Dixit. Good to see you, ma'am. Also joining us is author and analyst Neelakanthan RS. It's good to see you, Neelakanthan. Neelakanthan has done a very interesting book comparing the north to the south of India. Also joining us is veteran journalist and editor Madhavan Narayan. Also always good to see you. Also always a pleasure to have you on our program. From the Congress, we're joined by its spokesperson, lawyer and politician Mahima Singh. Namaskar, Mahima ji. And also joining us as political analyst Anurag Naidu. Now, the Election Commission has asked the Congress to clarify this, but as I said, Sonia Gandhi's speech does not use this word. Yet the Prime Minister targeted the Congress and Sonia Gandhi in perhaps the most aggressive words he's used for them recently. Listen in.
इस कर्नाटका चुनाव में कांग्रेस का शाही परिवार एक कदम और आगे बढ़ गया है, मर्यादाएं तोड़ के आगे बढ़ा है, देश की भावनाओं को कुचल करके आगे बढ़ा है। बड़ी पीड़ा के साथ कहना चाहता हूं, बड़े दर्द के साथ कहना चाहता हूं, मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, मेरे एक एक कन्नडिगा को मेरी इस बात को बहुत गंभीरता से सुनना चाहिए, बहुत गंभीरता से सुनना चाहिए। इस चुनाव में अब कांग्रेस के शाही परिवार ने कल कर्नाटका में आकर के बोला है, उन्होंने कहा है कि कर्नाटका की सॉवरेनिटी की रक्षा करना चाहते हैं। इतने सालों से पार्लियामेंट में बैठे हैं, भारत के संविधान का शपथ लिया है और ये बात बोलते हैं। इसका मतलब है कि कांग्रेस खुलकर कर्नाटका को भारत से अलग करने की वकालत कर रही है। टुकड़े टुकड़े गैंग की बीमारी कांग्रेस में इतनी ऊपर तक पहुंच जाएगी, मैंने कभी सोचा तक नहीं था।
In fact, it is important to restate that Sonia Gandhi never did use the word in her speech. Why then would the Prime Minister expend this sort of political capital? I'll get the BJP on that in just a moment. But Mahima, I must ask you a question. We went to the Congress feed, the Twitter feed. Obviously, some person who tweeted made a mistake in paraphrasing Mrs. Gandhi, but the tweet is still there. The speech, when you check, the word is not there. Right? The Congress has accused the BJP of fakery and falsehood. Why is this tweet still there? And do you think somebody just made a mistake, or whoever was handling the social media feeds? What actually happened? Because again and again, I have to say that as journalists, it's important for us to say Sonia Gandhi never used this word in her speech. Go ahead, Mahima.
Thank you, Barkha, and good evening, everybody. Well, that is being looked into as we speak here, and I think what is more relevant here, you just pointed out that she never said the words, but what is more relevant here a very pertinent issue today is that who is drafting Prime Minister's speeches with such poor research? That is one thing. Also, misplacement of issues. The issues in his speeches all across Karnataka election have been so misplaced. The priorities have been missed completely because he's not talked about 40% corruption, inflation, unemployment. And let me just say that you see, even if it is about interpretation of the words that were tweeted, uh, owing to the poor research, again, I will say quote unquote, the interpretation is just matching to the IQ and aptitude of the BJP. Because this comes from, it's very reflective of the very mindset that talks of radars and clouds, the very mindset that talks of potatoes and gold, the very mindset that talks of sewer gas and pakoras. So, see, that is where the BJP stands today. And the BJP will have to understand that the people of Karnataka have got their priorities right, unlike the draftsman of PM's speeches and the Prime Minister himself and the Home Minister himself, who come to Karnataka threatening them that if the BJP is voted out, then the Prime Minister's blessings will go away from Karnataka or will not be bestowed upon Karnataka. So I think, the BJP can try as much as they want to divide, distract, derail, but they won't be able to because the people of Karnataka, the 6.5 crores Kannadiga, whose son of the soil, Mr. Kharge, was being conspired against, have got their priorities right, and that will show on the 13th of May.
So in effect, you're saying this is the non-issue.
It absolutely is a non-issue, but it is unfortunate that a weighty word as sovereignty has been used with such carelessness by the BJP without research, without any groundwork, and they are coming. And the Prime Minister, I mean, none other than the Prime Minister. That's the highest post, in the parliamentarian system that we see, apart from the constitutional posts. You see that he can come and he can make such light remarks about something as sovereignty, which holds such weight in preamble of our constitution, which was never mentioned in Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's speech.
Okay, so Pramila D of the BJP, why is the Prime Minister, no less, the Prime Minister saying something that is fake? It's on the Twitter feed, but it's not in her speech. So whoever is researching, as Mahima said, for the Prime Minister is giving him wrong research. I agree it's on the Twitter feed, but it's not in Mrs. Gandhi's speech. A. B. The BJP has asked for the deregistering of the Congress party. Some might say the BJP is nervous about losing. How do you react to this, Pramila?
I am happy she admitted. Unfortunately, the word sovereignty is there. The fact remains that the word is there. Whether it is in our speech or otherwise, it is tweeted, it is on record, it's a document. Admittedly, the word is used. Karnataka's reputation, sovereignty and integrity. What does it mean by Karnataka's reputation, sovereignty and integrity? Forget about anything. Word sovereignty could not have been used by her. That's why the notice has been issued by the commission. She has been asked to explain and to delete that word. Why they have not done? The very fact that their mindset is that they have to play, that is what our Prime Minister said. What happened when Kannaya Kumar came? What happened other times? Their mind is always to play, divide the country. What did Rahul Gandhi said when he went outside the country? He does not even believe the country, nation. India is a nation. He does not want to. He said it's a union of states. This is the mindset. They want somehow or the other break. That is what our Prime Minister said. Quickly, in fact, if I were there, he would have, I'm sorry, I would have said, what makes them say?
But ma'am, calm down. She didn't say it. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi did not use. Can I ask you a question? Sonia Gandhi did not use this word in her speech. It could be a snafu by a kid at the back end of the Congress media cell. I don't know why they've not deleted the tweet. I did try and ask Mahima that. But do you not think when it comes to someone as senior as the Prime Minister, his fact-finding team should at least hear the speech of Sonia Gandhi? She's not used this word. You all are making a noise about a word that was never used in a speech.
I am unconcerned. She is the party member. The Twitter is from the party. They don't deny. If they deny, I can understand. If they have denied, no, it's not by me. They have not denied. Even today, the person who spoke from the Congress, she admits that unfortunately the word is there. What do they mean by it? Directly or indirectly, they want the word sovereignty is meant for. Sovereignty, you see, when you take a oath, you definitely say that I take oath on for the purpose of the sovereignty and integrity to maintain. Without that oath,
Okay,
one
let's get the
cannot
others.
even
Let's get
contest the election.
let's get the
That's the
others.
reason.
Okay. Let's get the others to respond now. Mahima, brief interjection. I really do have to open it up for the others. I think it's curious that the tweet is not taken down. I can understand, or everyone these days, the perils of social media is somebody can make a mistake. No, but the tweet itself that uses this word is not being deleted as far as all of our devices still show the tweet still there. Mahima?
Let me just quickly say that the BJP's rhetoric is reflective of these words. घुटनों पे टिके लोग, सुविधा पे बिके लोग, बरगद की करते हैं बातें, गमलों में उगे लोग. And what the BJP spokesperson just now said, you're asking about why the tweet is not taken down. I said that that's being taken care of as we're talking here. But you see, the Prime Minister once had a slip of tongue, Beti Bachao, Beti Patao, which is very much there, out there, everywhere. He's never apologized for it, let alone, rectify that speech. But here they are talking about Tukde-Tukde gang, when the BJP itself on the floor of the parliament has said it has no data on Tukde-Tukde gang, just like they said they have no data on Ram Setu or COVID deaths. So see, the BJP is basically standing on a hollow, bottomless pit. And on the 13th of May, when they fall, they'll know better.
Okay, let's open this up for the others. They've been waiting very patiently. Let me first get Madhavan, then Neelakanthan, and then Anurag in that order. Madhavan, what's actually at play here? The BJP in national politics has always been smart at occupying the space as the nationalist party. It's always been able to use nationalism and the rhetoric around nationalism to its political advantage. But in politics in the southern states, plays out quite differently. And in Karnataka, for example, we've seen a big war over milk between Nandini and Amul, for example. So there is a kind of outsider-insider politics that does play out. Yet Bangalore is one of the most Bengaluru, I should say, is one of the most cosmopolitan cities in India, with people coming in from everywhere. How do we understand the level of noise that the BJP is making over this, led by the Prime Minister himself? Madhavan.
Actually, it's very simple. This is the land of the Mahabharata. Let me say this, a very interesting aside. There is a road in Delhi called Pandara Road, and the legend has it that the road was supposed to be named Pandava Road, but some typist made a mistake and it became Pandara Road, and it's still there. It's a part of history. And Pandava reminds me of Mahabharata, and in Mahabharata there is this famous episode where Ashwatthama Hatha Kunjara is uttered in order to drown the voice of, an elephant called Ashwatthama is killed, but it is made to sound as if it was Drona's son who got killed. So BJP obviously draws inspiration not just from Ramayana but also from Mahabharata. So there is this whole business. I see it very clearly on two lines. One is the sign of desperation, because all pre-poll surveys are showing Karnataka slipping out of the BJP's hands, and this might be one way to capture votes in the final run-up when local issues are dominating, such as caste-based quotas or inflation, or what you call those allegations of a 40% corruption in Karnataka. Grandstanding on a national scale by touching the sentiments of national sovereignty is one way of Modi putting his personality, and patriotic sentiment to drown the noise of the local issues in the Karnataka elections. So that is the real politic-based interpretation I would give. Having said that, two more things I must tell you, Barkha. First is that, there is this whole Tukde-Tukde narrative has been built up systematically by the BJP and RSS, beginning with the JNU episode. And there is a project there, I'm quite certain. Last week, All India Radio has been renamed as Akashvani, which to South Indians will say it's an imposition of Hindi. And therefore, that is one thing. And you already mentioned the milk controversy, where Amit Shah mentioned Amul as somebody which will benefit Nandini. And that basically means that the North will help South or something. There's a certain hegemonic grandstanding, which I have used an expression called North-splaining for this. It's the equivalent of mansplaining in feminist speech. So that, now let me come to the word sovereignty.
Quickly, I want to go to the others.
Very
Maybe,
quickly,
yeah.
sovereignty as a dictionary. Sonia Gandhi did not use the word sovereignty, that's clear. But like Pandara wrote, something has gone wrong here. But sovereignty also has common dictionary meaning. One of them is self-governance, another is jurisdiction. So you could say that the Nandini's jurisdiction being challenged by Amul is a casual usage, which might have been somebody looking up the dictionary might have used the word wrongly. So all this point, last but not the least, India's constitution does mention that India is a union of states. I rest my case.
Okay. Neelakanthan, your work most recently has actually compared the North and the South, looked at development models, all of that. When you look at politics, politics also plays out differently. The culture of politics is also different. For example, actually, there's a lot of conviviality between leaders of the BJP and the Congress if they were to meet at an airport, at a wedding. There isn't that kind of personal breakdown of relationships, as, by the way, there unfortunately exists in the North. I have seen this in Tamil Nadu. I have seen this in Karnataka. They're quite friendly, socially friendly, I mean, politically unfriendly, socially friendly. When you look at this battle, what do you see? Do you see an attempt to make a local election national? Do you see a sign of nervousness? Or the BJP might argue, do you see a gotcha moment, and why not go in for the kill? Neelakanthan.
Yes. So I just, So before we get into any of this, I just want to, in any federal structure, it's remarkable that somebody like the Prime Minister of a federal union is coming and saying that the idea of state sovereignty is something that is anathema or close to seditious. It is not. It is the structure of a federal union demands state level sovereignty. And what that means is that there are the electorate elects state governments to do one set of functions and jobs, and it elects another government at the union level to do another set of jobs. What state sovereignty means is that the state government does not answer to the union government, but instead answers to its own electorate. And that is the meaning of sovereignty in the context of state sovereignty. It does not mean that there is a secessionist movement in Karnataka. That somebody senior like the Prime Minister of what is the largest democracy in this world and the largest federal union in this world would actually make such absurd elementary mistakes, and that we're having a discussion on this is pretty shocking to me. And secondly,
to be honest, if the Prime Minister had not led the debate on it, I don't think the media would have paid it this kind of attention.
Fair. I mean, you have no choice but to follow the Prime Minister.
Because it's such a big, once the Prime Minister puts his sort of, his energy behind it, it is a story.
Agreed. But therein lies the significant sort of issue, the political issue that you speak about, which is that the BJP, for whatever, it is their ideological position, which is that they sort of see this country as the government as a unitary government. We are not that. The constitutional setup is that we are a federal union and that there is this concept called state sovereignty. And, the politics of Karnataka clearly suggests that, in some way, shape or form, the aspects of Kannadiga identity, Amul versus Nandini is one example. The imposition of Hindi is increasingly an issue in Kannadiga circles. It's been an issue in my home state of Tamil Nadu for about, since pre-independence for about 100 years now. But the point is that all of these are these are symptoms of what is a serious resource allocation problem in the federal union that India is. And ordinary people do not look into the appendix of complex reports, but they express their politics in very different ways. And what I see is a clash between the subnationalism, the Kannadiga subnationalism, and the larger nationalist politics that the BJP has. And, the Congress is after all a nationalist party, and the Congress hasn't, for instance, in my home state, hasn't managed to win elections for 60 years. And how that this idea of Kannadiga subnationalism versus the nationalism of the BJP at the national level plays out in not just Karnataka but in Telangana, in Andhra Pradesh, in Kerala, in probably many of the northeastern states is going to be the sort of the political aspect of the next decade or two.
That's very interesting. The idea of sort of subnationalism that is derived from ethnic identity, regional identity, linguistic identity. There's so many multiple ways in which people actually identify and feel strongly about, and it doesn't make them anti-India or anti-national. And I think that's important to keep underlining. I just want to bring in Anurag. He's been waiting very patiently. Anurag, do go ahead. How do you see this controversy, Anurag?
Well, Barkha, I have, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. But, I've heard all the other panelists speaking. I have a little different view, Barkha. I think we're deviating from the topic, because I've been in Bangalore for about 3 decades following the Karnataka politics very keenly. People use the words like, misplaced arguments from the Prime Minister. And I'm not here to support Prime Minister. I'm here in an independent capacity of an analyst, But what he's trying to invoke is very interesting. If you have yourself played it on your channel, Barkha, what he's trying to invoke is, जो ये सोच टुकड़े टुकड़े मानसिकता इतने ऊपर स्तर तक पहुंच गए. That means he's taking reference of people like Kannadigas, he's taking reference of people like probably Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, taking reference of people like Mr. Shashi Tharoor. The examples that we have seen in the past. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary stands up in the parliament and says Kashmir is no more an integral issue and it should be internationally debated. What does it mean? You have people who are picked up on a day zero placement from JNU and who says tukde tukde, and you celebrate that. You celebrate these people and they go and promote your party's ideology. So, and also recently when you said, the flag in London has been brought down and you have the star parliamentarian of Congress, who I admire very much. He says, Mr. Jaishankar, cool it down. What is there to cool it down? So he's talking about a mansikta. And why Congress is a bit rattled, what I feel personally, Barkha, is because when it comes to issues of nationalism, BJP has always taken away from Congress. That's one narrative that BJP has been unbeatable. And second, Barkha, more than the sentiments that are flowing through, in our panel that we're having today, I would like to stress upon the data. And whenever the Karnataka over the last 1 decade has voted, when it comes to Mr. Modi, there have been landslide. The stunning number of 89% of turnout of the seats when they vote for Mr. Modi in 2019, it is 25 MPs out of 28, 89%. So Mr. Modi is a swing factor in Karnataka. So when he stands there, he says, vote for me. People like go.
Can I come in? The result you're referring to is the Lok Sabha election, and the Indian voter has this very intriguing, and that speaks to Nilakanthan's point of subnationalism, nationalism coexisting. The way people vote in a state election is not always the way they vote in a national election. So if you look at, for example, the assembly breakup of last time, it doesn't quite reflect the Modi factor, and that's exactly what's at play. The BJP would like very much for this to be a national election. The Congress would like very much for this to be a local election. Isn't that actually what's going on?
Exactly. Right? And I'm sure I agree with your point, but that's what I'm trying to say. Here, the BJP has no other way. Even if you see the latest ads, Barkha, today morning in the newspapers, Congress has put up an ad where the face is the local leaders, Mr. Shiv Kumar and Mr. Siddaramaiah, but BJP has put up a face of Mr. Modi. That means they're inviting, and even why are we debating today? We are debating the central point is Mr. Modi. So have we not made it Modi versus maybe Shiv Kumar and Siddaramaiah contest, or rest of all versus Modi? And that's what BJP wanted. And let's not forget, one of the panelists was taking, I think he said that opinion polls are showing towards Congress. Let's flip back in the past. Even 2018, when the incumbent Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, was declared candidate for the Chief Minister post, and all the media was speculating that Congress is going to retain Karnataka, and you got surprise numbers. Of course, they've not gone to the podium finish, but they had 105 single largest party, BJP. And Barkha, let's not also forget, after 1978, it's a very important data that I'm going to speak, Barkha. After 1978, Congress has never been able to form government on their own, barring 2013 and 1999, where there was the principal opposition got split into multiple, sizable, even 1999 Janata Party.
I see the political argument you're making. I think we all agree that the attempt here is to make this election about Modi versus Siddaramaiah, Modi versus Rahul. Madhavan, I was going to go to Pramila, but you have a brief interjection. Do go ahead.
Yeah,
Keep it
I
brief,
think it's
please.
very important. See, we do make political points on Karnataka elections and Modi and local issues. But let's go back to the constitution. Let me read out from IAS notes by one of the reputed institutions teaching civil servants. It says it's in lieu of the constitution as an interpretation. India follows a unique federal system, which is a union made up of numerous states that are a part of it. Indian constitution incorporates elements of both a federal and unitary constitution, and then it goes on to say that the sacredness of the division of powers and the components and all. Federalism is enshrined and embedded through three lists: union, state, and territory. And there are socio-linguistic as well as political interpretations on everything from the schedule to the office of the governor. Therefore, whatever is being discussed today is well within the ambit of the Constitution of the Republic of India.
But the Congress, but who is discussing it? The Congress says we didn't say it. You all are saying it.
Barkha, let me make a small point. I'm quite sure the wickedness of the Congress lies in the fact that you and this today, because they know that issues like Nandini and Akashvani are now part of the national discourse, and implicit in the constitution, including the preamble, is the multicultural nation of the Indian Republic, which is why the Citizens Amendment Act, Citizenship Amendment Act, as well as Article 370 are still before the Supreme Court. Last word hasn't been said on anything because...
Okay, let's get the others. Madhavan, hold your thought. Pramila and Mahima, and then we'll go back to Anurag and Neelakanthan. Pramila ji, to you. Here's the question. For those who say this is the BJP's desperate attempt to make a state election national, the BJP does very well when elections are fought on the Modi factor. With the exception of Uttar Pradesh, where Yogi Adityanath has emerged as a formidable electoral leader, the BJP state-level leadership in state after state is not the face of the election. The Modi factor is actually what makes you win elections, right? So this playing on nationalism, this targeting by the Prime Minister of Sonia Gandhi, this is your attempt to take a local regional election and make it a national election. How do you respond to that critique?
I just want to tell you, Barkha, Modi has never used the name Sonia. Have you ever seen in this lecture? So far not. Why should they be afraid? That is like guilty mind. They have not used. On the other hand, in the Twitter, they use the photograph of Sonia.
But who else is okay, 1 minute. Who else is the Shahi Parivar? Who else is the Shahi Parivar that he talks about in his speech?
Parivar, everyone knows. I need not explain.
So don't say he didn't name
it. Which is known to everyone, we need not. You are asking me why Modi coming here? Why nationalism? You have done 2004, 24 is fast approaching. Parliament election is coming. One must take care of it. Every part of India must be taken care of. We are finding the truth and what is the mind of the pulse of the people throughout the country. Modi is coming to know. He must know the people's pulse. That's why he is coming. He had got not only here, he had gone to all other places where the election took place. This is semi-finals.
I'm not questioning, ma'am, why he's coming. He's the Prime Minister of the country. He can campaign everywhere. I'm simply saying Modi is the BJP's trump card. The BJP would like to play every hand of political cards as if Modi were the ace. That's their ace. That's your ace, and that's good for you, right? But
I want to know why are they afraid? He's my leader. He's my national leader. He's my own leader. I want him. If I bring him, why are they afraid? Why are they afraid of Modi? They don't have an alternative. That's why they are afraid. They do not want Modi to come because they have nobody. No face for them. No opening face.
Okay, let's take this to Mahima. Let's take this to Mahima. I think Anurag raised a point about the Congress falling short of numbers. This point was made not just by Anurag, but by D.K. Shivakumar in an interview to me. When I asked him about whether he would like to be chief minister, he said, see, Siddaramaiah was named as the chief minister candidate last time. He fell short of the numbers. Then when I pushed him further and I said, would you like to be chief minister? He said, well, loyalty will lead to royalty. And I need your blessings. He didn't make any pretense of hiding his ambitions. The question is, the Congress did fall short. You ended up with this situation where Kumaraswamy of the JDS took the advantage. Respond to that the BJP has the Modi trump card, and if you fall short of a clear sort of victory, then you could again find yourself vulnerable.
I would say, Barkha, here that I am compelled to bring this back to the BJP's IQ, because the BJP spokesperson just spoke and, embarrassingly enough, She said, it is my national leader reducing our prime minister. I mean, he's my prime minister currently. I'm not talking about the past nor about the future. My prime minister being reduced to just a national leader of a party, I think it's a shame. On top of that, you see, BJP has become habitual of lying. They were always, including the prime minister himself. Now they've begun to cry foul, and they connect Congress to the fear. We are the ones who are preaching.
Pramila ji is trying to show something. What are you trying to show us?
See your lies in writing, in publication.
What did you show us?
What are you publish? Complete lies. And
Okay.
they can never succeed. They will never come to power.
Okay, don't shout. Ma'am.
Sufficient to satisfy their election. Correct practice. 123. 123.
Okay, I want to speak. I want to speak. Ma'am.
None of them can stand the election.
Ma'am, I've heard you. Mahima, you still haven't answered my question. You haven't answered my question. The question is, the Congress fell short. D.K. Shivakumar wants to be chief minister. He's your troubleshooter. You've had to roll back on your manifesto talking about a Bajrang Dal ban. If the Congress is so confident, why is the Congress also showing anxiety? The interesting thing is, I think both parties are showing a measure of anxiety. That's because maybe no one wants to be overconfident. The Congress has suffered from that overconfidence in that last assembly election.
Before I go on to answer your question, Barkha, I would say that I do sympathize with the BJP spokesperson, because that's the exact touchy crybaby attitude that I was just talking about. And in addition to that, what you just asked me, I think the fate in an election is the legal sovereignty in this country. Let me talk about the legal sovereignty in this country lies with the public. And we are talking about the issues. That's what we did last election. That's what we are doing this election. That's what we did in Himachal. That's what we do in every state. And so if it is the issues of the people that we are addressing in a proper manner, we shall win. And we are not fighting with any amount of anxiety or fear. I think we are fighting with the confidence that we are guaranteeing the people categorically what they are interested in, while the BJP has only the face of the PM, who they have reduced to their own leader.
Okay, let's bring in Neelakanthan and Anurag. Okay, Neelakanthan, do go ahead. You spoke about state level sovereignty, subnationalism of the Kannadigas, and we see that reflected in the battles, even when it comes to, for example, food choices. The BJP has a very different food politics in the Northeast. It would have to go into Kerala having a very different food politics. I get all of that, but politically, I think Anurag has a point. The BJP will try and make this about national politics. Sorry, you wanted to come in. Go ahead.
So that is where I precisely want to say this, right? Forget the punditry of it. Imagine yourself to be the median Kannadiga person. What is the fundamental sort of political question in front of you? It is that the resource allocation problems are weighed against you. And the person who is at the head of the government, who is deciding those allocations against your favor, happens to be the incumbent prime minister, because that is the nature of our government. And the way in which, when I'm talking about resource allocation problems, if you look at the last 5 finance commissions, every single finance commission allocation ratio for the state of Karnataka has kept coming down. If you look at the impending delimitation crisis, the Karnataka is set to lose about, let's say, 4 or 5, given on how you calculate. If you look at any other kind of resource allocation problems that we have in this federal union, it is stacked against the southern states, and Karnataka, by virtue of being a relatively prosperous state, has a lot to lose. And it has a lot to lose against the union government. And the union government is in this country, the way in which the electoral college works is that you can win the Indo-Gangetic plains and form a government, and therefore the BJP.
But that didn't start with the BJP. That didn't start with the BJP. That's structurally.
That's structural. Nobody's blaming the BJP for it. In fact, I would argue that the BJP, by virtue of being a good political party for its primary electorate, which happens to be in the Indo-Gangetic plains, it should be doing what it is doing. But it is against the interest of the Kannadiga to vote for them.
That's a very interesting thought. Anurag, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, Barkha. Yes, Barkha. Very important. Barkha, maybe the gentleman who spoke, everything that he spoke may be an electoral issue for him, or maybe the educated or the top 1% in the elite class. But the problem, Barkha, here is it really an electoral issue for the larger section of the society? Society doesn't comprise of you and me, Barkha. It is having people from all sections and all communities. And, if this gentleman who spoke before me is telling, okay, the person who's sitting on the top is not giving is being very disproportionate allocation that he's speaking about. But still, we discuss the same point, sir. The people still want to vote for Mr. Modi. 25 seats out of 28. Isn't
But
that an
not
arm?
in the
I mean, I
assembly.
would
But
probably
not
what
in
I
the
would.
assembly, na, Anurag. Not in the assembly. This is an assembly
Barkha,
election.
I'm coming to that because because he took the reference of the top person, that is Mr.
Sure.
Modi. That is why I'm taking a reference of
Okay.
when it comes
Sure.
to Mr. Modi,
Sure.
they want to be blindfolded. They don't want to see allocation. It doesn't matter whether you're taking your money, giving to a Manipur or a Meghalaya. You still want to vote for Modi, and it is a choice of the people. Why don't you leave? I'm saying, see, I'm being very honest. I'm not saying that I'm not
I think
ruling away from the
Neelakantan brief
Barkha, one
interjection.
point. Barkha, one point.
Just
Barkha,
brief
one point.
interjection.
Barkha,
I'll let you
one point.
Okay, 1 point.
Barkha,
Okay,
one
go
point.
ahead.
I'll just make it a little bit more moderate. I'm not ruling away from the possibility of BJP not making good numbers, because for the first time you have somebody like Mr. Yadurappa. Let's be very honest. He's not been wholeheartedly spearheading the campaign. He's not met the expectation of the high command of the party.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we cannot guarantee one of the people, or Mr. Siddaramaiah or Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, will not break away from the Congress and join BJP. Nobody can guarantee it, because Mr. Siddaramaiah himself is coming from JDS and he's been into the Congress very recently and become a chief minister. Mr. Shivkumar has never shifted the side, but we cannot rule out from any possibility. But the same you cannot talk about BJP. That means the party and the people and the members, they are more solidly connected or more in control of the high command rather than the Congress. That makes Congress
Well,
in a very difficult situation.
Jagdish Shettar did leave the BJP and join the Congress. Yediyurappa is not wholeheartedly ever been fully loyal. So there are loyalty issues at a level of regional politics. But I will allow Neelakantan a brief introduction.
Yeah, can I just make this quick point, which is that to Anurag's point, that ordinary people do not care for that. Hey, can I just make a quick point here, which is that if we are to say that ordinary people who are going to the election booths do not care about finance commission allocation ratios and the way in which resource allocation problems work in this country, that is awfully elitist of us. The way in which it manifests in people's lives, they know what they are. And if we are here having a discussion that we will discount the way in which it actually impacts the lives of the people, and that we will show a supreme leader and therefore people will vote for us, that is a dangerous way in which we run democracy. Hopefully we are still in a country wherein people
I think the point he's making, I think Neelakantan, I think the point he's making is, yes, it's maybe logically true, but if you can't convert it into an electoral message, it doesn't always work. But I guess the point
the proof of that pudding will be in the eating. We'll wait for the elections.
Okay.
But to prejudge the motives of the electorate is extraordinarily elitist and undemocratic. We shouldn't be doing that.
Okay, we have to close. Madhavan, quick last word. We really do have to close. Madhavan? Yeah.
The general observation I want to make is that the further east you move from Ahmedabad or away from Lucknow, you will see that the Modi charisma comes down and local issues and caste issues dominate. And BJP behaves exactly like any Congress does in Karnataka, which is to look at the caste combinations and work out some of the promises. Even Revdi's, Mr. Modi may frown on them officially, but then the manifesto of the BJP promises cylinders and everything. So there's one thing, real politics always takes hold of everything. Mr. Modi appealed for his own personality even in Himachal, but in BJP he lost there. So therefore, some of these issues are number of seats may go up and down. BJP had only 3 seats or 2 seats in the 1984, but that didn't stop the party from coming up again. They lost 2 elections in 2004 and 2009. This is part of politics, but let's focus on the constitutional nature of this debate and whether or not Mr. Modi is trying to make a Napoleonic case for himself. I am the state, and BJP. It is not Hindutva. India Bharat is a part of the Republic of India. Bharat in the
Okay,
ancient...
Anurag, you have one line. I really do have to close. Anurag has one line.
Very,
Anurag?
very last line and very short, Barkha, just to make the Congress supporters and sympathizers a bit happy, is, the problem with BJP right now, Barkha, is they've peaked out. Already they've peaked with their popularity in Karnataka. There's no room to even further increase. So their biggest challenge would be to survive and sustain. So with such a heavy anti-incumbency, how they survive is a big challenge today, Barkha. But in Karnataka, they've already peaked with their popularity.
Well, voting is a few hours away. The results are just 3 days away. All of this rhetoric will settle into the dust of the actual results. But in the meantime, it's been an interesting conversation. Neelakanthan, Anurag, Madhavan, to Mahimaji and Pramilaji, thank you. And to our audience, thank you so much. In about 10 minutes from now, if you think our democracy is volatile, wait till you look across the border. Imran Khan has been arrested. We'll have a special program coming up on that in 10 minutes from now. So do tune in. Thank you for watching. See you soon.
We started Mojo right here in this basement. Just 4 people, 4. And now we're about to hit our first 1 million subscribers. So this is to say thank you to all of you for your support, for your respect, and for your encouragement. We've always gone to where the story is. During the pandemic, when television's big anchors were hunkered down in their studios or at their homes, we hit the road. We traveled from Delhi to Kerala, covering 30,000 kilometers in a small car, reporting from inside ICUs and inside slum tenements. Whether it's flash floods or war zones, we've always put our boots on the ground. In fact, we're just back from Punjab, tailing the Khalistani fugitive Amritpal Singh. And through all of this, we have always put you, the people, first. In an age of partisan polarized media where most journalists are either chamcha ya morcha, we believe the story is sacred and the truth of the story is what matters. And now as we get ready for the next step, we need your help. Become a Mojo member and get first access to all our big interviews. Get a chance to ask our newsmakers questions. Get a chance to write and report for us for both our website and our channels. And also, interact with me and my colleagues directly through AMA sessions. Literally, ask me anything. Click on the join now right next to the subscribe button, and yes, also subscribe if you haven't yet, and become a Mojo member for just 159 rupees a month. Hope to see lots of you in our community. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.